Hey guys, welcome on back to the AnKorage, and this is the latest geeky, nerdy episode of Pi Quest. What's the Pi? Well, we're happen to be talking about the Raspberry Pi. So Pi Quest is my series where I talk about different things regarding the Raspberry Pi single board computer. So what is that? That is this guy right here. So I'll hold that up. So this is pretty much the same dimensions as a credit card or debit card or a gift card, you know, all those payment cards, stuff like that. And this happens to be a Raspberry Pi 3B. It cost me $35 years ago. And this is what they come in like. So you need a case for it. You have to put it in something so that, you know, you don't risk shock, even though I don't think you would end up with a shock, but you don't want to damage it. And so I've got one here that's got a case. This is a Raspberry Pi 2 that you normally see standing right up here on top of that shelf. So this is the first one I ever bought, and I bought it for when I wanted to start getting into things in an affordable manner. And I was toying with the idea of a Minecraft server using one of these. And so I bought this one. I helped the developer for some dedicated Raspberry Pi software to host servers on these. And I actually have a build on these, on this one. Of course, it's all retired at this point because I don't play Minecraft anymore because Microsoft. So, but I still have it on here. So, if anybody wants me to fire this thing up and show people what the server management software is all about, let me know down below. So we'll do that. Maybe. So, either way. But this is it. And these are single board computers, or an SBC, that can be used for many, many, many different things. They're really good. And in fact, there's a couple of these up on the space station. I think they call it Astro Pi or something like that. They you know, there are schools down here on the surface where they can actually connect to those things to do scientific experiments and things of that sort. It's really cool. I like that. But you can do many different things with these. A couple of examples. You can do file servers. You can mine crypto. You can do weather stations. You can do home labs or home servers. They're essentially the same thing. Things of that sort. Many different things you can do, many different projects and stuff like that. I've got a bank of 4 of these, and that bank is, I named it Folkvanger, and that's up there on the shelf, and it's in a dedicated case where it holds all 4, and it's got a cooling solution of a couple of fans that move air through to help keep it cool. And I've got a couple of drives underneath it because 2 of those units are actually network attached storage, or a NAS. You know, the file servers and stuff like that. You can also use these to be video servers for your own videos, stuff like that. I did that for a short while on Folkvanger 1. When it wasn't part of that whole thing, it was attached to my TV. But I took that off the line, and now it mines Monero crypto for me, just to have something to do. It's fun, and I don't have to do anything. I do maintain it, though. Same thing with the file servers, which are the second and the third one, and then the fourth one happens to be Pihole. So, what is Pihole actually used for? We will find out. So what is Pihole? Well, we are going to be taking a look at that in just a moment here. Well, it's regarding the Raspberry Pi. It uses the Raspberry Pi to do what? Well, that's going to be network-wide ad blocking. There we go. So that's what this does. But it doesn't only block ads. It can also block other things like naughty stuff, just for sake of example. But, you know, and this is for your entire network. So essentially what happens is your internet signal comes into your home, goes to your router after your modem, and then it gets redirected to the Raspberry and Pi-hole. And so for it, you just need to install a supporting operating system such as Raspberry Pi OS. There's others. You can do a Docker install, basically in a container, and they let you know what the supported operating systems happen to be. And then you install it. And then you can also use Pi-hole as your DNS server. That's the domain name service. In other words, when you go out to a website, you know, it has to go out to a DNS server that's usually held by your ISP, unless you want to do it yourself. And you can do that here. So, and you can block ads everywhere, even when you happen to be on the go. By pairing your Pi-hole with a VPN, you can have ad blocking on your cellular devices, helping with limited bandwidth data plans. So that's actually pretty good. And it's got a nice little, the logo is really nice. I like that. That's actually kind of fun and everything. So yeah, we're going to be taking a look at one particular piece, and that is going to be the AdLists. So the AdLists and stuff like that is that what you want to do is when you have it all set up, you get AdLists and you add them to a listing inside of Pi-hole so that it knows what to block. And mine happens to be, with the list that I have, I'm currently actively blocking over 8 million domains. Now, this is after talking with an associate on the Switch to Linux Matrix chat. He was wondering, yeah, it's Pi-hole is great and everything like that, but does it only block domains, or can it also block IPs? It only handles things at the domain level. It would be nice to have it as an option, but that's beyond the scope of the project as of right now, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. Please let me know if that happens to be the case. So there we go. So I recently went out and I took all of my lists, my list of ad lists, they're hyperlinks to text files, and I put them in a document and on CryptPad, because that is, because I'm a supporter of Disroot, and they have many different online services, stuff like that, cloud-based stuff and such. They're in Netherlands, so that's really good. And one of the services that they provide is CryptPad. And so I created a CryptPad doc with all of my lists, and I've made them available for anybody to use. So if you happen to want to use Pi-hole and you want some lists to add to your ad list collection, go ahead and use mine. I have the list linked down below to that document, and I also have it pinned on some of my most, if not all, of my social media presences, like on X, Blue Sky, the Fediverse, in a number of different places. It's there for anybody that happens to come across it or knows about it. Go ahead and use it. So what does that list happen to look like? I'll give you a quick peek. And so I've got it listed here and everything of that sort. So why don't we bring that over and I'll show it to you real quick. So here we go. Here is PiQuest single board computer projects. That's the series. So we got the Pi-hole AdList collection, and that's also the thumbnail for this video. So we can see it on here. It said, you can see the AnKorage on these video publishers, YouTube, Odyssey, and Rumble. We're also on these social media sites, X, Blue Sky, Fetish Scribe, which is a Lemmy community, Friendica, Metapixel, a PixelFed instance, and the AnKorage is a supporter and a community member of both Switch to Linux and disroot.org. And it says, hey, be sure to fill out the AnKorage satisfaction survey and abuse/spam report form, and there's a link to it right there. And then we've got a little bit of a mentioning here about fair use, and then it goes into the lists themselves. So you want to add each list using the Add Block List button, and I took a picture of it and to show make it easier. This is what it looks like. So when you go into the lists section of Pihole, and that's what it looks like right there, go into that, you would add the list using Add Block List, and these are all block lists. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? Close to 20, if not 20 exactly. I don't know. I didn't count them. But we've got tons of here and stuff like that. So if anybody wants to use these lists, you can grab them from this list. It's linked down below. You can add them, and you can be blocking stuff at the network level. So that is, those are all the lists I use for Pihole. Anyone can use them. Just wanted to throw that out there. So I've got a link to that document down below, out on social media, which is also linked down below. And whether it be YouTube, Odyssey, or Rumble, this video points to all of that stuff. So there we go. So that's awesome. So if you made it this far in the video, throw me a pineapple, alrighty? Thank you, and we will talk to you later. And this is empty, but I'm doing it anyways. Skál.